History has no pity for the man who misjudges his choices. No ovation, no second chances, only a steady unraveling that no one sees until it's far too late. And by the time most men grasp the weight of their decisions, they're already mourning the version of themselves that could have been. Not because they lacked strength, but because they opened the gates to the wrong woman, blind to the fire she carried behind her smile. There's no warning label for this. Your mother won't say it, your friends won't know how, and society, it thrives off your distraction. But Machiavelli understood. He knew that great men seldom fall by accident. Their downfall is usually handcrafted, by choice, a reckless one, an alluring one, a choice that feels like love but bleeds like betrayal. While modern culture sells men a fairy tale, devotion, loyalty, soulmates, Machiavelli offered something far less charming, yet infinitely more useful: truth. Men are more easily deceived by what they see than by what they feel, he wrote. Everyone notices your image, few ever know your core. Most men navigate by illusion, but the wise, they look deeper. They don't stop at appearance, they dissect behavior. They observe how she moves when no one's watching. They don't fall for the act. They study the instincts behind it. And that brings us to the first unfiltered law. There are only two kinds of women: assets or liabilities. Not working on herself. Not it's complicated. Not she means well. She either enhances your life or siphons it inch by inch until nothing remains. Here's the hard truth. Many women today have learned to present themselves as assets, while feeding like liabilities. They flatter your drive while distracting you from it. They speak like allies while pulling you off purpose. And if you're not grounded in yourself, you'll mislabel the sabotage as love. But this isn't about resentment. This is about foresight. Because if you don't learn to choose with clarity, you'll bleed in the name of commitment. Machiavelli warned. A deceiver will always find someone eager to be deceived. And the man who chooses based on beauty alone? He's already surrendered. He just hasn't felt the blade yet. The real threat isn't her, it's your blindness. The man without discernment is the man most likely to fall. Because in a world where appearance is idolized and substance ignored, it's easy to worship a mirage while walking past what's real. But Machiavelli didn't write for daydreamers. He wrote for rulers. And a ruler never lets emotion in disguise slip past the gates of his kingdom. A dangerous woman doesn't need to shout. She only needs to misalign you from your path, to wear down your values until they look like obsessions. She'll question your passion until you start defending it. She'll brand your standards as harsh until you start diluting them. And before you know it, you've traded your purpose for her presence. But the wise man? He sees through the perfume, the praise, the performance. He knows the mask from the reality. He doesn't ask, is she beautiful? He asks, can she stand beside the vision without trying to control it? That's the test, and most never ask it, until it's already too late. The second law is this: never entangle yourself with a woman who disrespects masculine authority. Her sweetness when she wants something is irrelevant. Her beauty in a dress, meaningless. If she challenges your leadership without offering wisdom, she's not a partner. She's an adversary. If she interprets your strength as domination instead of protection, she isn't your woman. She's a storm that smiles like the sun. Machiavelli understood the dynamics of power. He knew that those who fail to protect it end up enslaved by the very forces they once tried to tame. You tell yourself you can manage her chaos, that your love will soften her edge, that you can talk it out. But you're wrong. Because the moment you chose her, you handed over the throne. You surrendered control and called it compromise. You wrapped submission in noble words like balance and understanding. But the truth is, you gave her your sword and asked her to lead. Machiavelli warned, if you can't be both feared and loved, choose to be feared. This isn't a call for cruelty, it's a call for self-respect. A man who fails to command respect from his woman will never earn her devotion. She will test your standards, looking for your backbone. And if she doesn't find one, she won't walk away. She'll stay, just long enough to watch you deteriorate. And when your fire is gone, she'll whisper, you changed. No, you faded, and she witnessed it in silence. You were conditioned to believe that masculinity must be passive, that strength equals flexibility, that leadership in a relationship must come with permission slips and apologies. But Machiavelli knew what modern men forgot. Diluted power ceases to exist. Once you allow your authority to be negotiated, you've already forfeited it. She might smile, she might nod, but inside she'll sense it. You don't lead, you follow. And when she sees that your spine bends at her convenience, she will slowly lose the desire to stand beside you. Because even in the age of hyper-independence, deep down, every woman still desires to follow a man who doesn't flinch. This doesn't mean you become callous. It means you become immovable. Immovable in purpose, in boundaries, in clarity. If she can manipulate you with tears, seduce you out of principle, or argue her way around your vision, you are not her man. You're her task, her placeholder, her pet project, until someone stronger enters the room. Loyalty doesn't come from emotional declarations. It's earned by becoming a man who can't be bent out of shape. Here's your third law. Observe how she handles boredom. Any woman can be affectionate when the spotlight's on her, when you're planning getaways, when the attention flows like wine. But the moment the excitement fades, what does she do? Does she cultivate calm, or does she stir drama just to feel something? This is where her essence emerges. A woman who requires constant stimulation will destroy everything the moment real life demands focus, consistency, or restraint. You don't need a fire starter. You need someone who knows how to sit with silence, someone who doesn't torch your kingdom just because she's restless. And about her past? Society says it's none of your business. That asking makes you insecure. But Machiavelli? He'd scoff in your face. He knew that history is prophecy in disguise. The promise once made was a necessity, he wrote. The promise broken is the truth of today. Her past is the blueprint for your future. If she's betrayed before, she's not reinventing herself for you. She's refining the pattern. And if her timeline reads like a battlefield, don't expect peace just because you showed up with flowers. Don't confuse charm for change. Don't mistake her warmth for wisdom. And never ignore the red flags just because she's beautiful when she lies. Another law most men overlook. Never link your legacy to someone who laughs at your mission. You're meant to be a man with vision, and a man with vision doesn't wed chaos. He chooses alignment. If she dismisses your focus, mocks your discipline, or rolls her eyes at the future you're building, she's not your muse, she's your liability. A woman who can't sit in stillness will seek disorder. And if she doesn't find it, she'll create it. When the attention fades, when the gifts stop flowing, when the rhythm of life becomes steady, she becomes agitated. And restlessness in a woman is not cute. It's corrosive. It's the gateway to betrayal, to drama, to self-sabotage cloaked in spontaneity. Machiavelli would have named it clearly: an undisciplined soul, dangerous to any man walking a path of purpose. Ignore this, and she won't explode your life with fire. She'll erode it with silence, with withdrawal, with subtle resentment, with cold eyes when you focus on your craft. She won't support you. She'll wait for you to apologize for not being her source of chaos. And society's favorite lie? That her past is irrelevant. It's not. A woman who's bounced from one man to another doesn't crave depth. She chases novelty. A woman who's betrayed before doesn't need comfort. She needs consequence. You're not her redemption arc. You're not her fresh start. You're just the next scene, unless you draw the curtain yourself. Look at her consistency, not her confessions. Because the woman who ridicules your drive will one day ridicule your downfall, and call it growth. Now, here's a truth most men can't bear to hear, but every man must embrace. If she doesn't fear your absence, she'll never truly value your presence. If she believes you'll always be there, no matter what she does, no matter how little she gives, she will start to hate you. Why? Because what's freely given is taken for granted. Machiavelli wrote that men must be either embraced or destroyed. There's no in-between. Women operate no differently. If she doesn't feel she could lose you, she'll try to own you. If she fears losing you, she'll rise to meet your edge. This isn't manipulation, it's self-respect. The man who's willing to walk away always holds the crown, and no woman respects a man who gives that crown away just to feel wanted. Stop feeding disrespect with attention. Stop pleading for loyalty through submission. Stop bending backward just to avoid being alone. Machiavelli didn't write for men who need approval. He wrote for men who build empires. And a king doesn't explain why he leads. He proves it through his actions. He doesn't select based on lust. He chooses based on alignment. That brings us to the next principle. Choose a woman who sharpens your edge, not one who softens it. The wrong woman will tempt you to let things slide, to miss a workout, to laugh off your rules, to downplay your ambition. And she'll do it sweetly. She'll call it love. But it's betrayal in disguise. Because a real woman, the kind who multiplies your world, doesn't beg you to relax. She challenges you to level up. A woman who doesn't fear losing you will start treating you like a certainty. She might still say she loves you. She might even believe it. But without that ever-present sense of your independence, she'll slowly slide into either comfort or quiet contempt. That's why women test boundaries, not to punish you, but to verify you. They want to know, are you real? Do you have steel beneath that charm? Or are you just faking strength to keep her around? If you hesitate, she'll know. If you cave, she'll control. A man who can't walk away can't lead. Machiavelli understood this centuries before therapists gave it a label. Respect is born not from fear of pain, but fear of consequence, of your absence, of knowing you won't tolerate disrespect, even from someone you love. So while society tells you to be vulnerable, Machiavelli would tell you to be unshakable. Because if she can share your bed while dishonoring your values, you're not her king, you're her fool. And history is littered with men who loved gently and lost everything because of it. Now let's speak to the man already deep in the quicksand. The one who listens and thinks, it's too late. I've already made the wrong choice. No, it isn't too late. But freedom comes with a cost. It may cost you your comfort, your image, your finances, maybe even years you'll never get back. But ask yourself this: what's truly more painful, cutting the cord now or slowly decaying over the next 2 decades? Because understand this, the wrong woman won't just drain you. She'll leave when there's nothing left, not out of cruelty, but because nature has no mercy for a man who refuses to guide himself. Machiavelli knew, people only value what they're afraid to lose. And if she's not afraid of losing you, it's because you trained her not to be. That changes today. You weren't born to be her emotional caretaker, not her emotional safety net, not her project, not her fixer. You were born to build, and what you build will either be reinforced by her loyalty or devoured by her dysfunction. Most modern men don't fail because they lack courage. They fail because they were taught that being powerless is somehow noble. That surrender is a virtue. That tolerating disrespect is what love demands. But Machiavelli burned the illusion to the ground. A prince who lacks wisdom will never benefit from wise counsel. In other words, if you're weak, you'll only attract those who prey on weakness. You'll confuse instability for passion. You'll keep calling it bad luck, when in truth, you're just untrained. The most dangerous lie a man tells himself is, she'll change. No, she'll adapt just long enough to keep you hooked. Then she'll revert to the chaos that thrills her. Why? Because you were never her leader. You were her leash. The hard truth? You're not trapped. You're hooked. Addicted. Addicted to hope. Addicted to the next apology. Addicted to the illusion that just one more sacrifice will finally earn you peace. It won't. Because once you choose the wrong woman, you enter a system rigged against you. A contract where you're designed to lose. Every time you give in to avoid confrontation, you lose authority. Every time you swallow your truth to keep the peace, you lose respect. And when she senses that your world revolves around her acceptance, she'll reshape you into a version she doesn't even want. Machiavelli didn't write for men who want therapy. He wrote for men ready to reclaim their crown. The first step? Call it what it is. You gave up your power. Now take it back. Not to get even, but to rebuild. Because the man she tolerated is not the man she'll fear losing. Here's something no influencer, no guru, no alpha coach will tell you. No woman is your reason for living. None. Your mission is your reason, your structure, your discipline, your legacy. A woman can enhance it or sabotage it, but she can never replace it. And yet, most men today hand over the keys to their kingdom for a smile. They make her the center of gravity. They orbit her moods, her needs, her highs and lows, and wonder why she stops respecting them. Because women do not admire orbiters. They trust men who orbit something greater than them. A mission, a code, a vision. That's why one man gets her contempt, and another her devotion. Not because she changed, but because the gravity around him did. Here's your wake-up slap. Never settle for a woman who crumbles in your absence. If you want to know who she really is, step away. Disappear. Watch. Does she stay grounded? Does she protect what you've built? Or does she chase validation the second you're not there to feed her ego? Most men never test this, because they don't want the truth. And that's how they stay chained to the illusion, instead of anchored in self-respect. Your standards are not preferences. They're protection against chaos, distraction, decline. Machiavelli told rulers, never open your gates to the enemy. But today's man? He hands over the keys to someone he barely knows, then cries betrayal when the fire starts inside. You're not just guarding your heart, you're defending your legacy. And the woman you allow in? She's either helping you fortify it, or she's smiling while stacking the stones that will bury it. And if this message is hitting something deep inside you, good. Because that shift you're feeling, it's not discomfort, it's awakening. So before you scroll away, pause and subscribe, because we don't sugarcoat lies here. We cut through illusions, sharpen the mind, and rebuild the man. If you're ready to rise, this is your place. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. The reason you ignore red flags isn't ignorance, it's ego. Because deep down, you think you're the exception. You believe your love is different, your patience will reach her, your sacrifice will finally be enough to make her see your worth. But she won't. You're not her father. You're not her fixer. You're not her God. You are a man, and a man's time is his currency. Every second you spend trying to awaken growth in someone committed to stagnation is a second stolen from the man you were meant to become. Machiavelli didn't sugarcoat it. The wise act immediately, fools act eventually. If you're still with the wrong woman because you're afraid of starting over, that's not love. That's cowardice masquerading as loyalty. And here's the bitter pill. You chose her. Maybe it was lust. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe you had no standards at all. But you opened the door. You silenced your instincts. You rationalized every red flag. And now you're paying the cost. But that suffering? It continues only if you keep lying to yourself. Because the truth is this: no woman has ever destroyed a man's life. He did it the moment he chose her and ignored who she was. Until you accept that, you'll relive the same heartbreak again and again. Blaming women, blaming the world, blaming timing, when the real culprit is your refusal to raise the bar. Your fall didn't begin the day she betrayed you. It began the moment you saw her clearly and still stayed. You romanticized the damage. You told yourself, she's just misunderstood. But your soul, it was already shouting, leave. You didn't stay because you were noble. You stayed because you were afraid. Afraid of rebuilding. Afraid of being alone. Afraid to admit that everything you gave, your time, your spirit, your loyalty, went to someone who was never worthy of it. And Machiavelli would give you the warning you've tried to escape. The man who allows himself to be deceived is already halfway defeated. You didn't just choose her. You protected the image she gave you. Even when she drained you, you defended her. You explained away her disrespect. You told your friends, she's just going through something. And now, the cost is your calling. But here's the turning point. You don't need more signs. You need self-respect. Because every second you waste justifying her role in your life is a second stolen from your evolution. She didn't destroy you. She exposed you. She revealed the version of you still hooked on dysfunction. Still yearning for validation. Still chasing potential instead of truth. That version of you, it has to die. Because no queen will stand beside a man who bows to his own illusions. And here's the final law. You don't rise because you got lucky with women. You rise because you got ruthless with your standards. The world won't cheer you on for this. They'll call you arrogant, rigid, toxic, cold. Let them talk. Because the man who stands in silence, with peace, is wealthier than the one surrounded by noise disguised as love. If something inside you stirred while listening, if a part of your delusion cracked, don't scroll past this. Machiavelli didn't write for men seeking comfort. He wrote for men ready for war. And if you're ready to win, you must understand. Every woman you allow into your world is either sharpening your blade or dulling your edge. There is no neutral woman. There is no safe choice. She's either amplifying your greatness or becoming the quiet enemy beneath your roof. So choose like a ruler, not a beggar. Test her, observe her, step back. Because anyone can pretend when you're watching. The real measure is this: who is she when you're gone? If she honors your standards without a reward in sight, you may have found something rare. But if she unravels the moment your attention fades, she was never yours to begin with. So stand firm, lead decisively, and never forget. The man who fears losing a woman is already owned by her. But the man who fears betraying his mission? He owns the world.